We're talking today about, finding out surprises about your parent, about your father. And my next guest, I will tell you that is not alone, because what she was able to find out of her father, I think the numbers are growing with the number of people who are finding out the same thing. Please welcome Lori to the show. And Jeannie, in a second, I'm gonna come back to you. I want to definitely comment on Diane and what's going on in their home, especially with we're gonna comment on that. But Lori, when did you first think that there was something going on different with your dad, where your dad was maybe different than other people?
Between the ages of about 7 and 14, there started being a lot of increasingly sneaky behavior on my dad's part.
Next thing you know, you come across your father's journal and his diary.
Correct.
And then what was the revelation that you found when you started reading?
Well, one thing that was...
How old were you then?
I was 14.
14, okay.
One, there were some pictures in there of my father dressed as a woman. And then there was, as I was reading it, there were some sentences in there that he had always felt like he wanted to be a woman, and he didn't know how to tell me, and he was so afraid that if I ever found out that he would kill himself. And
meanwhile, did you think your mother knew?
My mother knew about...
Your father?
I had no idea.
Okay, all right, so go ahead.
I had no idea. But, at this point, Dainna had grown out her hair. She had longer hair, she had earrings, she had grown out her fingernails, and the kids at school just kept saying, "Oh, your dad is so cool, he looks like a rock star."
Where was your mother at that time in all this? What was she doing?
I was never close to my mother.
Okay.
And that's kind of awful to admit, but the thing is like growing up, I was a daddy's girl. And, to be so close to somebody and then to have this come out, and it was like Dainna got knocked off this pedestal.
When you and your grandmother confronted her at the time, what did he say?
He was shocked.
That you knew? That
I found out, right? He was absolutely shocked. Because I don't think he necessarily planned to tell me. I just think he figured he could keep this a secret. For
a long time. So you talked this through, and what was the solution? What did you come up with that would be the answer to how you guys would live with this?
One, it was, not say anything to my mother.
You graduate, right? And you never say anything about this until you graduate from high school?
She found out about 6 months after.
Your mother found out?
Yeah, my mother knew that I knew about 6 months.
And then what happened?
The family just really struggled to keep together. And
what kind of a toll has this taken on you?
Goodness. There was a point that I got sent to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist told me that, see, a lot of times with transgendered people, they go through a puberty, and so Dainna was being kind of garish and very teenager-like, and the psychiatrist said, well, Dainna's going through puberty, and I know you're going through puberty because, 14, so you can expect Dainna to wear your clothes and to wear your makeup and so on. So my response was to start eating lots of food, and I stopped wearing makeup and really stopped caring about myself, and the next thing I know, I packed on 100 pounds. Well, Dainna certainly couldn't wear my clothes then.
So you knew that as a fact.
And she, I didn't have any makeup that she could wear, so I thought I had solved that problem.
Where are you now?
I've been resolving issues. I've known for about 17 years now, and it's taken me, probably from the time I was in college, 20, 21, somewhere in there, was when I really started letting go of this as a big family secret.
Dainna went ahead and went through a full transgendered operation?
Transition.
Transition?
Right.
So now your father is is a woman.
Right.
And what's the relationship between the two of you now?
Oh, fantastic.
Well, then let's talk to him. Please welcome Lori's father, Dainna, to the show. Have a seat. Talk to me, Dainna. Talk to me. Here's your child. And I know now, just the fact that the two of you are seated out here right now as females.
Well, it was a struggle. My whole life was a struggle with this. I knew from the time that I was 3 or 4 years old that I was not like everybody told me I should be. I had a lot of problems with the boys in the neighborhood who beat up on me emotionally. often, physically often, because they thought I was weird.
When you were little?
When I was little, before I was 4. I wanted to play with the girls in the neighborhood. I wanted my own dolls. I wanted my own doll buggy. I just wasn't like them.
Hold on one second. We'll talk as soon as we come back. We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this. Point forward in your life, and I'll say it this way, but you basically had to live a facade.
I had to live what everybody else wanted me to live. I had to put on the life that everybody else designed for me. I went into the Navy for 11 years, and after 11 years in the Navy and the concern of being caught, I got out of the Navy. I went back where I was born, and went into a world where I thought I would have the freedom to finally become myself, but now I had a problem, because while I was in the Navy, I met a woman, I fell in love.
Had to do what you were supposed to do?
I'd tried to do what I was supposed to do. I met a woman, I fell in love, we got married, I fathered a child. And now I have responsibility. I mean, and I don't know what to do. I'm trapped. I've got a responsibility that I committed to. I love the woman I'm married to. I love my daughter, and I don't love me.
So when were you able to make the decision that, you know what, and I say it this way, but that's, forget everybody. I'm going to do what I have to do to live.
The only thing I had left came down to a simple decision. I can live as a woman, or I can die as a man. And in that decision said, we start the process now of letting the stuff that I have hidden come back to the top. But how do I do that without hurting my family? Now, I married a woman. She knew from the beginning what the potential was. There was no secrets. It didn't seem right to me to have a secret, especially a secret that big. And she chose to stay. And she has chosen to stay now. We just recently celebrated 33 years of marriage, 34 years that we've been together. And this was and my life changed 17 years ago, and she stayed with.
If she knew, like you said, you kept no secret going in.
Right.
And she loved you for who you were.
Right.
There's no reason to love you for who you are.
Right.
There's no reason not to love you for who you are. And
she has said that when we were dating, she said I wasn't like any of the other guys that she'd ever met. I said, well, this is why. And if there was some magic way to make all this go away, then I'd be just like all the other guys. So she said, no, we'll keep this. Because she likes the friendship that we have.
And I think when we start talking about things like gender, sexuality, talking about things like preferences, people get all clouded.
Yes,
because they don't understand that there's a difference in a spectrum of all those things that I just said. And unfortunately, or fortunately, maybe it's more fortunate, I just wonder how many people took what would have been the easier way out, which would have been committing suicide when they had no other choice. And the numbers of those people who have done so, caught in the same situation, are so high, we can't even keep track of them because we don't know. So I say, bless you, I'm glad you're here. You didn't take your life.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. Well, we're out of time, so I want to thank all of our guests for being here. But Jeannie, before we go, I think one of the things that we didn't comment on is Diane and her daughter and this situation. What do you think? Because she's going to get remarried in less than a month. And is there any projected date of when your husband may get out of jail?
On paper, it's 15 to life, but we're going to leave it up to God instead of the attorneys.
I'm with you.
Well, he certainly has come through something and acknowledged it, and if you find it in your heart to forgive, more power to you.
Well,
some people could also resolve it without forgiving, and it could be a healthy resolution too, but he's really worked something through, it sounds like.
May I say one
Although
thing?
I don't think I could do what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't think I could either. I totally relate to this pair on the stage here. I think you don't know how far you can come until you, like you say, until you go through it. John and I are closer now than we were before this happened. And we have prison walls between us, and we have 15 to life between us. but our hearts and our souls are closer now because of what we went through together and what we healed up from. And I can relate to this relationship too.
And you wanted to say one last thing, my mom. Dad.
You know,
So I'm sorry if because I'm sitting there, so you want to say something about your mom, but what do you call her now?
my
Him?
parent.
Your parent, okay,
My
go ahead.
parent. When I was growing up, I totally adored this one person. And I thought I lost that person. But after all of this, and after we've learned all of this, I know a whole complete person. I don't know half a person now. I know a whole person, and I love this person so much.